Welcome, exiles! I present to you 145 million damage of pure Cyclone goodness. That is not really possible in game. Full disclosure in first 23 seconds. Hopefully nobody skipped that part. I'm gonna get a comment. I know I'm going to get a comment that's gonna say that is not possible in game. I know. So what do we have here? Why did I make this thing and what's the point? Well, I want to see what is the highest possible damage on one with nothing build. That is this thingy here, that gives this thingy here, that's called hollow pump technique, and it gives you damage per dexterity and more attack speed. You have to be unencumbered, which is not wearing gloves or weapons. And yeah, that is my thing. I keep messing around with this jewel of one. I want to make it crazy good, and I think I'm on the right track of making something that is broken, because while you would not really reach this number in game, you can easily reach 100 million damage on a reasonable gear, and you can probably reach something like 80 million damage on a really cheapskate gear. Maybe like a 6-link wild wrap would be the most expensive thing in the build, and everything else would be just few, I don't know, up to 10 kills per pop, I guess. But it's really possible to get really extreme numbers. I didn't even push dexterity that high, honestly. I can go even higher, I guess. So what's the point? I mean, Cyrus has around 70 million life, I think, last time I checked, and you would be killing 2 Cyruses per second. That's not needed. On a budget, you would phase out Cyrus either way, so there's really no point in this much damage. I just wanted to see if it's possible and how much is possible. You could probably use this damage in fully delirious maps, but you would be better off with something that has a better clear speed. This doesn't have a good clear speed. It has a decent clear speed, but your AoE is pretty small. You're gonna one-shot everything, but you're gonna leave stragglers behind, and that's probably not good. I did clear fully delirious map in 310. The build was pretty different then, and this build is actually really good for bossing. And the damage drop-off on clear speed is pretty significant. You could probably go up to 3 or 4 delirious mods, I mean stacks, those orbs that you had, so it can go up to 5, I think, so maybe 2-3 would be just fine. If you run into the mirror, that would be also just fine, but you cannot clear as many mobs. You're leaving things behind. You don't have big enough clear for Cyclone. You could go Ice Crash or some slam skill. That's what a lot of people are doing, and they're playing Raiders. And I want to try that out too, but there are a few other things that I want to try out, and I don't want to be copying anyone. I want to make something good that is better than everyone else. If that's a thing. I mean, there are probably like a lot of smart people who are messing around with this thing too, so like checking POE Ninja usually gives you a lot of information. But I think anyone stumbled upon stacking Ancestral Guidance. I don't think that happened, so that's what I'm doing, and I actually already made a video. I called it Triple Your DPS, but I already explained that in that video, since this really triples your DPS if you stack up these things. And if you have like a normal defensive character, in that video I showed off as a champion, and it was doing around 10 million damage with a really cheapskate gear, and you just add these things and it triples your DPS. And these jewels are like 1 chaos, like this is 1 chaos per pop, not including like 8 dexterity fire res. You probably won't get that on a 1 chaos. You can get it probably on a, I don't know, 10 chaos budget per pop, but you could get that dexterity. It's completely completely unnecessary because the only node that's gonna give you that dexterity is this first one, so that is completely irrelevant. Just if you're gonna try this out, just by the ones that give ancestral guidance, you can also try this on a weapon build or on a phase breakers build. It's gonna probably give you a lot of damage. And maybe we get into kinda stacking ancestral guidance for bossing kinda deal. We're probably gonna phase out every boss in game. I have to test it out, but it's probably gonna be pretty good. And it all started with this thingy, Panopticon, which give you 50% increase effect of buffs by your active totems, and I anointed that and was like, wait, that is pretty much crazy. Can we stack that up? Yeah, like the Chieftain Ascendancy has that too. I'm not sure where it is. 50% increase effect of buffs granted by your active totem skills. Try that. Not impressed. Found out about this thing here through Power Report. You do this, select Impel Total DPS, Power Report, show clusters, and it's gonna say, hey, if you can get deep cuts, which is, you can't really get those anymore. You would get a lot of damage. That's what we were using in 310. You can get it in standard. Then you have this thing, which is not actually a cluster jewel, it's something else, but it gives me a lot of damage. Force multiplier, really good, and it should also be suggesting the ancestral guidance. Here it is. But I probably stuck up way too many of those, so force multiplier is actually better now for me. I do have a few force multis. Those are on these large cluster jewels, and those give a lot of damage because we are non-crit build. And we're still doing a lot of damage even though we're not critting. But having just like 5% chance to deal double damage is really, really huge. So double damage, A-okay for this build. So that's what we have. I also recorded a series called Let's Make a Build from Scratch, where I actually build that champion character, so you can check that out if you want to see like how I play around with path of building. The videos are long and boring, but maybe you want to watch them, I don't know. And also made a video how to make a build from scratch, which is 10-minute video explaining like general process how to make a build. And I will link those in the description. Anyways, so that's what I have. I also will showcase, probably right after this video, I want to talk about totems and going just pure totems as a variant, just as a quick showcase. This is unethical Ancestor War Chief. One of those guys does 138 million damage on this gear, and I even removed this stuff here, which we would actually bring back, and I'm actually just going to not mess with that and just go on my totem variant. Here we go, 130 million damage on a totem, and that's just one totem. I have the other one that does 30 million damage, and I have two of those. And they have culling and a whole bunch of goodness to them. And I also have somewhere in here Frenzy, which does also 42 million damage on this setup. It's completely, again, unrealistic. I'm going to showcase this a bit better in the next video and talk about totems, but for this video, for this variant here, which is this Max Cyclone that I'm going to share in the description, no, this is not possible in game. It's just like testing it out. You can see like what gives the most damage, and I'm going to start including this. It's called 1000 mirror gear because it's not real, and I don't know even if 1000 mirrors would buy you this gear. Probably will, but you wouldn't really have that much currency. And I'm going to include different, don't really need either one of those, just doesn't need that. I'm going to like include those, and I'm going to include something like 10x budget or maybe like 50x budget like downgrading them up to like some budgety stuff, so you could see, hey man, I have like 5x, I want to play that gear is the best for me at the moment. So that kind of deal. So I'm going to start including those in my builds, and I also seen a lot of really nice path of buildings recently, so I want to implement those stuff in my builds, like skill groups for leveling. I usually included leveling skill trees. We're gonna include those as always, and a few other goodness, maybe alternative ascendancies or something like that. We'll see. But I think I talked enough in this video. If you wanna see that totem variant, look for that video. It's gonna come out after this one. So we're gonna make something really crazy really soon. Just watch out for that. Maybe we make some big meta shift in Path of Exile. Really doubt it, since this is more of a bossing build and everyone is farming delirious thingies, but I definitely know a lot of people will do their first Cyrus kill with this build. In 310 there were a lot of people that managed to kill Cyrus for the first time with a budget variant of one with nothing, and it was really easy. But yeah, that is all, exiles. I will see you in the next one.